Okay, I apologize for not covering the last 2 weeks of the box office when How to Train Your Dragon was at number one and when Media was at number one the last week. I just didn't have time to. Now I do. Captain Marvel is the highest grossing movie of this week. Even if it only grossed $85 million, it was still. Well, I did say that Ant-Man and the Wasp was going to gross $1 billion. That's right what we said. But the Captain Marvel. First, let's talk about Captain Marvel. I don't like the movie. Captain Marvel is terrible. It's awful. It's the worst Marvel movie. No, it's not the worst Marvel movie. There is a certain duck that was in a movie in the 1980s. That was far worse. But the movie managed to gross $500 million worldwide. Well, $500 million worldwide means it's going to gross $1 billion. Now, it's simple as that. The Last Jedi had like a similar opening worldwide and still managed to gross $1 billion worldwide. Let's look at worldwide openings if we can find it. All-time openings worldwide. The top 10 besides Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and Batman vs. Superman, all of these films grossed over $1 billion, and Captain Marvel. And it's considering that every film has grossed over $450 billion, grossed $1 billion, the Captain Marvel is going to gross $1 billion. And the fact that it has no competition for the next 2 weeks, and the remake of Dumbo does not count as competition, okay? Dumbo, the remake, no one's going to go see it and it's going to flop. Shazam is going to be the next competition for... Actually, there's Us as well. A lot of people want to see that. But horror movies are now a big staple in the box office. But most of these movies, besides Batman vs. Superman, which goes $873 billion, which it could drop off like Batman vs. Superman. But even The Last Jedi grossed $1 billion. It's good gross similar to The Last Jedi, which is pretty sad. But if Black Panther had a worse opening and it grossed much more than Spider-Man 3 and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which released when the foreign market was not really a big thing. Like China's market was not a big thing. They weren't focusing on China's market, so it was harder to reach $1 billion. But now we have China as a massive market, which is the reason why this film is doing well. There's no real but half of this, I think half of this is from China alone, because you can throw crap in front of the screen like Transformers The Last Night and they'll still watch it. Transformers The Last Night is a terrible movie. So many plot holes everywhere. Same thing with Age of Extinction. There's so many plot holes everywhere. It's a good action movie, but so many plot holes. And number 2 is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. As I explained before, kids and families go to see these movies because they have pretty colors. I'm not going to see this movie because I'm not interested in animated movies, okay? This movie is still doing well, and it was projected to do well because it was an animated movie. Animated movies always do well. And I'm glad for Universal that they have another success this year. Next we have Lionsgate Medea. It's doing pretty okay. It's another Medea movie. We all know who goes to see these movies. The same group of people who watch every Medea movie are going to go see this movie. Moving on. Next we have the Lego Movie, the second part. This movie is gonna reach $100 million. Sadly, even though this movie's completely awful, it still hasn't broken even. That's the thing. No one is watching this movie elsewhere. No one is watching this movie. Look at the foreign market. Nobody wants to see this piece of crap. Moving on, Lego Movie 2 is a flop. Alita Battle Angel is the next movie. The film is... Fox says it's for $350 million, so I think this movie is not a massive flop. It's not a flop. It's going to make back its money. It's going to at least break even, at the very least. They're saying that this movie needs $500 million to break even. I don't trust those sources. They're, of course, trying to downplay this movie as much as possible, but this movie is not a flop. This movie was supposed to be a flop. It was supposed to be a flop. Next, we have Green Book. Green Book is at number 6. The movie is doing pretty okay worldwide. Green Book is doing okay worldwide. It actually is doing pretty good considering its budget. I'm not watching any movies that the Oscar puts as Best Picture because the Oscars are biased and they're awful. But it's good that this movie is doing well. Isn't It Romantic is one of the worst movies of the year. It's awful, but it managed to gross $44 million. I guess the audience for this movie went to go see it. Next we have Fighting for Family and Greta doing okay, and Power of Women not selling too well. The Upside is still over $1 million. The movie grossed $100 million. The Upside. Spider-Verse is still doing okay. It lost a ton of theaters. Aquaman is practically dead. I can't find it. I can't find Aquaman. I'll watch that and watch Captain Marvel. But I can't find Aquaman anywhere on this list. So, maybe it's discontinued in theaters. Or maybe it'll be updated later. Because there is only 48 movies on the list. So, some other movies are still doing well, like Free Solo. That dropped massively. And some above other smaller movies. A lot of movies dropped massively. A lot of older movies. Probably because no movies besides the freaking Lego movie had a massive decline from last week, and Green Book, which was a Oscar Best Picture movie, but the box office has rebounded. There was a slump. But now let's go over all the reasons why Captain Marvel probably did well. 3D movies. This movie had a lot of 3D markets. 3D. If you look at the 3D, it had the world record for 3D theaters, which was a lot of 3D theaters. And number 2, there was a box office slump. And usually when a supposed big film comes out, the box office slump is supposed to come back up to a massive opening. That's the reason why. The film has already broken even and has broken the box office slump because the whole of February has been disappointing after disappointing opening, with the exception of Alita Battle Angel coming out. It was the Lego Movie 2 underperforms, or How to Train Your Dragon actually overperformed, but there weren't no $100 million openings in that weekend. The Lego Movie 2 underperformed, which is the reason why there's a box office slump. Last weekend was not a good weekend as well for the box office, so the box office has practically rebounded from one movie alone. And that's basically it. I think Captain Marvel is going to gross $1 billion. Marvel movies don't gross below $800 million anymore. There was like one outlier in the last 3 years, but no Marvel movie has grossed below $800 million. That is not Ant-Man and the Wasp, or is not published by Disney, aka Spider-Verse, which it didn't do well worldwide. In foreign markets, it did the same as America. So How to Train Your Dragon is no longer number 1, which I don't think How to Train Your Dragon is an animated film should not be number 1 box office, okay? It should be a live action film, just saying. But I think there's like 10,000, a lot of people hate this video already because I criticized animated films like I always do. I just don't think they deserve to be at number 1 in the worldwide box office in a year. They never are. There's like a few years that are outliers. American Sniper. There was Frozen. Oh yeah, Frozen didn't even reach number 1. Frozen did not reach number 1, but animated movies never reached number 1 of the year. Actually, there was one outlier when Toy Story 3 came out. That is the one outlier of that rule. 2007, and The Lion King is another outlier as well. The Lion King episode with Revenge of the Sith. Shrek 2 is another outlier, but Shrek 2 had a very, very big opening because I think Shrek is one of the few exceptions to why I don't like animated movies, because Shrek is easily one of the greatest characters of all time. Okay, if you look at all the memes of Shrek, no, that's not an animated movie. There was only 2 movies at least number 1 that were animated. All the rest were live action films. Okay, so you won't see an animated movie on top of the box office. It'll be Avengers Endgame. I guarantee you for that, Avengers Endgame will be at number 1. I'm gonna keep going back and see if the Lion King is at number 1, Saving Private Ryan. Because the Lion King, I think, was at number 1. Toy Story was at number 1. That was 1995 was a bad year for the box office. That's probably why Toy Story was at number 1, because it was a bad year for the box office. But the Lion King didn't reach number 1, but Toy Story did. I didn't know the Forrest Gump came out in 1994. I thought it came out in 1995. But you never see animated films at number 1. And the last 30 years, only like 4 movies, Aladdin, Toy Story 3, and the greatest movie of all, Shrek 2. Goodbye.